Hey folks, Real with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin. This is a 20-year reflection on the Raw and Nitro episodes from November 17th, 1997, where a lot of pivotal and pivotable, as Dusty Rhodes would say, events did occur. Coming off of the Montreal Screwjob and stuff like that, there was a lot of bubbling stuff in WWE, and WCW still riding high. They beat WWE in the ratings for the entire year of 1997. For like the later half of 1996, the whole year of 1997, for the first 4 months of 1998. And then they would trade ratings victories, and then WWE overtook them because they screwed up a lot of stuff. But looking back on this, and of course the Monday, talking about the Monday Night War, so it's going to go on both playlists, depending on which ones you see. And this is going to be something I'm going to do more often, not just reflection shows. If I feel like doing various select Raw, Nitro, comparison shows like I'm doing here, I'm going to do them, especially in 98. I'm also going to review every single 1993 edition of Raw for a 25-year reflection, so that's going to really fill out that playlist, so I might almost have to do a separate playlist. But these are shows I enjoy doing, and I'm going to kind of reflect back on stuff, because some of the new stuff, I'm still going to review Raw and SmackDown every week, one way or another, and I'm going to upload the reviews when I can, if I'm recording them at home like I am now, or if I'm recording them with the Derb, they're going to go up right after. Those aren't going away, pay-per-view reviews aren't going away, we're still going to do that, and we'll even do some live reaction videos if possible, but I'm going to reflect more on the past. Because, sorry, some of the past stuff deserves to be talked about. So anyway, without further ado, here we go with this up. Just want to do a little cheap plug for future shows that I'm doing. And again, I'm going to give thanks. I'm going to give thanks to a few people here before I start. The Durbinator, Chris, thank you so much for being the best friend I could ask for. And no disrespect to my other friends, but great guy. WWE NXT guy for being a really awesome guy and having a really cool YouTube show. Wrestle Rant, Graham GSM Matthews for having an awesome YouTube channel and also for being a great friend on Twitter. Various other people, Big Bird 432 and a ton of other people. Zach Donegan, get back to making videos, Zach. You were really good at it. Andre Corbeil's got a good YouTube channel also. Good to great. Him and I don't have crosswords with each other. We always have good debates. He has some really good wrestling interviews and stuff like that. Title Match Wrestling. They have really good content also. So just a little shout out there for various people. And WWE Vontae, get back into making YouTube videos, man. You were really good at it. I know life gets in the way, man, but you could do some really great things. And you were. And of course, one of my newest fans on YouTube and somebody who's also a fellow wrestling fan, Valena Tweets. Valena, and I mean, I had to get that right. Thank you for being really cool and appreciating the content I provide. And she's got a really cool YouTube channel, so check that out. She's really great content, really knowledgeable wrestling fan. Also, anybody that I forgot, do not think that I'm slighting you. Shout out videos at the end of the year will come come out in full, and I will make sure to write these down. In fact, I'll probably start writing them down before I go see SmackDown tonight. I am recording this before SmackDown because I won't have time to record on Friday. But I did watch these episodes, so let's get right to it. A lot of stuff did and a lot of stuff didn't happen on this episode of Raw, and that's how I'm going to start them. I'm going to start them, with Raw and Nitro, and I would always tape Raw and watch Nitro. And I was much more of a WCW Nitro fan before the war and, during the war. Until, later 99, stuff like that. So, just want to say thanks to you guys for putting up with all that, and now let's get on with it. They had Fallout. They had recaps of Fallout from Shamrock, Shawn Michaels, and Slaughter. When after the show went off the air, Michaels and Shamrock were having a match. Slaughter got in the ring and counted the pinfall, so Michaels knew he could be beat, but of course it wasn't a sanctioned match and stuff like that. Jim Cornette and Jim Ross on commentary. I fucking love Jim Cornette. I may not always agree with him. Some of his takes on things can be a little outlandish and stuff like that, but the guy's fucking brilliant with his quips and stuff like that. Him and JR were perfect. This is the kind of commentary I enjoy, where you have a heel commentator who can give credit to the baby faces and stuff like that when need be. But then you have JR playing, you know, the more traditionalists and stuff like that, but getting fired up. They really sold this episode of Raw. Their commentary really worked. You had Steve Austin come out and challenge Rocky Maivia, The Rock. I mean, they were The Rock, Rocky Maivia. He was, of course, transforming to be The Rock. And they were starting this feud here that was going to culminate at In Your House DX, I believe. I think it was In Your House DX in December of 97. The In Your House events kind of, you know, blend together for me, especially in 97. The crowd seemed very dubbed in, though, which was really odd. I really didn't understand. It was like a lot of generic crowd noise. Like, was WWE ashamed of what their fans said and what content they provided? They shouldn't have been. The Nation comes out and attacks. Austin, of course, challenging Rock, saying, come down and get the IC title if you want to get it. Well, Rock steals the IC title during this whole melee where Austin's still hitting stunners. He's getting back in the ring, and to think, not even 3 months before this, well, actually, no, I take that back. 3.5 months ago, he suffered what should have been a career-ending neck injury. It was a career-shortening neck injury, it turns out, but hitting stunners, stuff like that, left and right, crowd's going apeshit. What you can see, at least with the crowd, even with the dubbed-in noise, Cornette laid into Sable during the Mark Marrow Jerry Lawler match, which it was a very long opening of like promos and attacks and stuff like that. And I think the longest match might have actually been Mark Marrow versus Jerry Lawler, and it wasn't even a very long match. Actually, it might have been the light heavyweight champion or light heavyweight tournament match a little later. But Mark Marrow had Sable at ringside, and I love how Cornette just laid into Sable. I was never personally a fan of Sable. I just never was. I forget, he said in a shoot interview, I don't know what creative, I don't even remember the exact quote, but it's like, I don't know what creative got for him putting a live microphone in front of Sable, but it should have been 3 to 5 years. Just fucking wonderful. But you had Brian Christopher at ringside. Unfortunately, he was on commentary, and I can't stand Brian Christopher. Brian, you know, Jerry Lawler's kid, Jerry's kid. I can't stand the guy. The guy was never any good in the ring, and he acted entitled more than anything. And that wasn't just on TV. Apparently, he acted entitled backstage, if anybody believes any, you know, reports and rumors. But it came across like that, and it just... Lawler and Mark Marrow, it was weird because both were acting like heels. Marrow wasn't necessarily a babyface with how he was treating Sable. And Lawler, of course, was a heel. He was a hero to WWE fans for what he said about ECW. I mean, or at least some. I mean, and I know, you know, I just want to say Justin, you know, WWE NXT guy. All due respect, man. I mean, we differ on ECW. I have no problem with you being a big ECW fan. Do not take my comments as a personal shot. Just wanted to say that. But it was by DQ because Sable interfered and started choking out King. You know, I mean, you would have thought King was David Carradine, David Carradine. Anyway, he got roped into that role. I'm not apologizing for my David Carradine joke. We all are in the weird shit, but that's kind of an odd end for him. Anyway, boy, this review is running long. Marrow confronted Butterbean at ringside. Butterbean had no business in the goddamn wrestling business. No, none. I mean, he was a boxer. He wasn't a very good. He was a good power boxer, and that was it. And he had a giant tattoo on his back later in his career. I mean, it was like the size of the Hindenburg after it burned up. But Marrow and Sable, Lawler wins by DQ. Cool, whatever. I didn't really care. Why Brett? Why? I'm just going to sum up these two interview parts where Jim Ross is interviewing Vince McMahon about the Montreal Screwjob fallout, and Vince and JR revealed a lot of stuff about Brett's contract in WWE, the 20-year contract at $1.5 million a year that he got, apparently. I think 1.5 or 1.25 is one of the two. And Brett gained a near $9 million contract. I think it was close to $9 million. I think it was like 2.65 that he got. So it was very, very close to 9 million. Might even been just a little bit. No, it was just under. But the whole point is, he basically got $9 million over 3 years from WCW. And it was really awesome to see the stuff about the Vince McMahon character. This is pretty much the last time you saw anything with Vince, the announcer, because obviously there's Vince, the owner, now he's on TV. Fans hated him, and he decided to morph into the Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon character because of this, and it worked great. And WCW got a big boost from Brett. Brett did not appear on the Nitro that was showing opposite of this. or they were showing a pose of this, but still, you get to that a little bit later. All the details, and then you had Savio Vega and Miguel Perez versus Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, who stole some of the Los Barriquas gear, and it immediately ends in a DQ. Because the rest of the Barriquas go on to attack Gunn and Dogg. Cool. I wonder if that win mattered to Road Dogg. Sorry, I just have no respect for the guy. Because he's terrible and creative. However, whatever his role is on SmackDown Creative, he is not good at his job. You had the 6-man mini match, which didn't really last long. You had Sonny there. Sonny around 6 men. That seems fitting. Kane comes out and just interferes. Well, he comes out and runs out and attack, and the minis are all surrounding Cornette or getting behind Cornette and JR. And Cornette's like, I don't want anything to do with this. And Cornette and JR sell the hell out of Kane. They're still using the red lighting. Paul Bearer's there. The headbangers try to attack Kane. Smash a boombox over Kane's head. He just no-sells it. He choke slams him. He choke slams one, tombstones that one, and then tombstones the other. And these beatings will continue until morale improves or the Undertaker accepts his stipulation or accepts his, offer to fight him. It's one of the two. I think Taker fights him first. Morale didn't improve until a little bit later when they finally started winning the ratings war. DX is here, and it was Rude's final appearance. Rick Rude's final appearance. This was a taped Raw, and then he showed up on the live Nitro later. It was a rude awakening for WWE, and that is a solid pun, no matter what anybody says. Slaughter was berated by DX that the Triple H said Slaughter's wife was not, happy with his privates, and that he couldn't get above half-mast. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really care for DX. I understood why it was over. And sure, the crotch chop is kind of, the DX stuff and whatever. And it got over. The NWO to me was better. But I don't fault Shawn Michaels, coked up 1997 Shawn Michaels. God damn it, Shawn. It's amazing that Shawn Michaels is still alive with how many pills and stuff like that he took for a number of years. Especially from, I would say, about 96 on. Until he had to retire. And then he didn't do anything until I think about 2001 when he finally hit rock bottom and was told by his wife, you got to get clean. And he did. And good for him. Good for Shawn. Even if I still feel Brett was better, Shawn deserves his place in WWE history and in wrestling history in general. But you had that, and then you had Slaughter beat down, which makes sense. After what Slaughter did the week before, you kind of got to have a heel dynamic and a face dynamic of them getting heat and getting to come back and stuff like that. That's how you book it. And you had Scott Taylor versus Eric Shelley, almost at Alex Shelley. It was a light heavyweight tournament match. It was okay. The crowd didn't really care. I'm not familiar necessarily with Eric Shelley. I do know that Crowbar and the future Christopher Daniels actually faced off in a match in this tournament a little bit later. I think it was the following week, which I probably won't review that one. I don't know. I'm gonna take a look. I'm gonna be really busy after this week. I said before, I'm gonna be really busy after this week, so I might not have a chance to watch as many do as many reflection shows for a little bit. We'll see though, folks. And Survivor Series, I was going to do one on the 1987 and 1992 editions. And a 2002 edition. Might only have time to do the 2002 edition. A, storage on my phone. B, time. So anyway, Jeff Jarrett was on the phone during this light heavyweight match. Shockingly sober. I know it's 1997, but still. Hopefully Jarrett gets the help he needs. This took away from the match. Scott Taylor wins with an impressive DDT. Cool stuff. Mark Marrow comes out to confront Butterbean. Again, hooray. We didn't care about this the first time. Why Brett? Why Part 2? Already covered it. Why Brett? Why Part 2? Electric Boogaloo. It got personal. Vader was hit with the gold dust hammer, the gold thrust of gold dust. Gross. Still was good stuff. Gold dust was just slinging it out there. Yeah, an arm sling. Solid pun. Slaughter had a passionate promo. Was going to get back in the ring at In Your House DX in a few weeks. Cool. Then you had Rocky Maivia versus Dude Love in a short match. Interference City, Austin attacks. Rock still escapes with the title. This was a decent edition of Raw, but it was messy. The matches didn't really even matter. And that's what really annoyed me. It's like you had to have a mixture of promos and matches and whatever. This was unfortunately when Russo was writing the show, so it was a car crash often, but Cornette and JR did great on commentary. And now the WCW Nitro from November 17th, 1997. It was nearly 25 minutes till we got to the first match. You had an NWO promo where they opened, and it was a fun promo. Everybody got to do the typical stuff. Rick Rude appeared. That was fun. It was a shot to WCW or a shot to WWE because he had a full beard on the taped Raw, and then showed up with just his mustache on Nitro. And it was good. It was good stuff. I really enjoyed that. Rude, of course, had the whole thing where they're hyping that Bret Hart's going to join the NWO, and it was nice. It was a nice promo and everything. Good stuff. Mean Gene then interviews Ray Traylor, who, Guardian Angel, Big Boss Man. NWO attacks Ray to show him who's the boss, man. Crickets. I'm just going to let that sit there. I like that. I like that pun. There were a lot of promos to open this, and then they just slammed a bunch of matches. By the end of the whole thing, there were 8 matches, and that was pretty much in the last hour and 15 minutes. Some of them were good, though. So we had Glacier versus Ming. This was not good. It was decent, though. Glacier wasn't that bad in the ring. I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe it's rose-tinted glasses. Maybe it's the fact that I enjoyed the gimmick when I was younger. Shit, now. But him and Ming, it wasn't bad. It was a quick match. Ming won, as he should have. And then Barbarian's down there and immediately starts attacking Glacier. And then Ernest Miller, the cat, comes down. I can't stand Ernest Miller. He's a trash wrestler. I don't mean him as a human being. I just mean as a wrestling character. Never care for the guy at all. But Tongan Death Grip to Ernest Miller. Thank you, Ming. It's a damn shame that Ernest was still able to talk afterwards because the guy couldn't cut a promo and couldn't work. But yeah, 30 minutes in and we're just a one match. And then you had Alex Wright with Deborah, who was trash. Never deserved to get hit by Steve Austin. Never deserved to be abused. I want to say that right here. The woman herself. However you feel about her opinions about wrestling and being in the wrestling business for whatever reason, the woman herself did not deserve to be abused by Steve Austin. Or any man for that matter. No woman deserves to be abused by a man. No man deserves to be abused by a woman. Little PSA there. Honestly, the whole thing of domestic abuse needs to stop. It's ridiculous. Now, that being said, Deborah never belonged in the wrestling business at all. I couldn't stand her. Alex Wright versus Steve McMichael, it was trash because Steve McMichael is trash. Trash wrestler. Can't do anything. He can't do nothing properly. He can't do nothing. I can't talk. Clearly. But it was a quick match. It was trash. Because again, Steve McMichael couldn't wrestle. And then you had Jericho versus Ray. This was good fun. This was really good fun. Ray and Eddie Guerrero were going to face off at World War III 97. So just like about a week afterwards. And by the way, cheap plug, I actually covered briefly all 4 World War III events in 2 shows. They're in my complete WCW pay-per-view history playlist, along with covering both the WCW Mayhem events from 99 and 2000. So I hope you guys give those a look and let me know what you think. But Jericho and Ray, you would expect them to have a really good match, and they did. It was a really fun TV match. Good action. Really hyped me up. This got me getting more into this Nitro episode. Before, it wasn't really all that good. This did do pretty well. And it was a good TV match. Everybody hyped up Bret coming, including Benoit, Luger, various other people. It was cool, and there were a lot of people saying disappointed that Bret's joined the NWO, even though he didn't join the NWO, at least at that time, and then he eventually did. It was messy. They did not know what to do with Bret Hart at all. And then you had NWO beat up Larry Zbyszko. They've been building this up for a while. Where Zbyszko tried to confront Bischoff, and they would face off actually at Starrcade 97, that I may do a reflection show on. Maybe. Even though I covered all the Starrcades already, I might do a more scathing rant on the booking of Hogan versus Sting. And this was good stuff, and it built up sympathy for Zbyszko, who really was super over. I mean, a lot of times he would have to get up and do his bow, like this kind of stuff, and greet the crowd before they would shut up. Or even, calm down about it, because Larry was super over. Which was cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. And then Viano 4 versus DDP. Diamond Cutter City, bitch. It was a decent match, a decent little TV match. But Diamond Cutter for Viano 4, and then Viano 5 tried interfering. Got crotched on the top rope. And then from the second rope, Diamond Cutter City, great. DDP, super fucking over. Super fucking over. Really fun. Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko. Really good match, as you would expect between these guys, especially for a TV match. Had an odd finish, though. Weird double count out where after a superplex, both guys couldn't get to their feet, and the ref does a 10 count because neither guy could get to their feet. Good way to protect both guys, and both guys would have a blow-away match at Starrcade 97, but it was still a little odd that they did that. Anyway, still fun. I certainly won't complain about it. Scotty Riggs versus Perry Saturn for the TV title. It was decent. I mean, it built up the whole thing with Riggs trying to take down the Flock and stuff like that, and Saturn was, of course, aggressive here. It was fun. They focused on the Riggs eye injury. He sold it pretty well. Certainly not a bad match, but very short. Steiner Brothers and attacked by the NWO. This happens so often. The NWO would just blitz everybody, and I got that was the case, and we were trying to build it up, but eventually, after so many months of it, and NWO not getting a lot of comeuppance, if any, it got boring. It got repetitive, and I mean, even though the NWO was still white hot, it was starting to fracture WCW, and you could tell. Kurt Hennig versus Lex Luger was okay as via DQ. Why did Luger always sell stuff like he got shot? Why? I mean, this was back, of course, when he could walk out there, and now he can't. And I'll take shots at Luger like that because I just don't like Luger. I just don't like the guy. But more shenanigans. Hennig and Luger during the finish of that. Giant comes out, runs Hennig off, saves Luger. This is one of the times when Giant was a babyface against the NWO, not joining them again. Then he faced Scott Hall, where Scott Hall was able to focus on the hand of the Giant, and Nash was on commentary, and it was decent stuff, and ripping apart Tony Schiavone, which, I mean, it was a little mean, because Schiavone isn't that bad at commentary at all. Even if I make fun of this is the single greatest insert thing here in the history of our sport, he wasn't a bad commentator. He was a good commentator for WCW. But you had, of course, Interference City because, of course, and then a whole bunch of WCW undercard guys were running down to fight off the NWO when they tried attacking the Giant, and this was all the hype for World War III, and then it ended. This was a pretty good edition of Nitro, even if it was messy. Two really fun matches, even if one had a wonky finish. I'm going to give the edge to Nitro. I'm going to give the edge. One, Nitro was live, but WWE was really, really close. If a couple of the matches had been better, this might have actually put it over Nitro. But Nitro still had the edge here, but it was getting closer. So do you guys enjoy this? Do you guys enjoy these reflection shows that I'm doing about the Monday Night Wars? Because I'm going to do also ones about the Clash of Champions. Anyway, leave in the comments what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Also, it's been Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin. I will see you soon.